Go ahead.
Hi, this is Tracy with the Limelight Pet Project, and today we are at SaveAForgottenEquine in Redmond with Terry and Kaya. And who do we have for adoption here today, Terry?
This is Anderson. He is a 16-year-old Arabian gelding that Safe has had for the past 4 years. He came in as a stallion and had not been handled for over 5 years. He was living in a field, somewhat abandoned, neglected by his owners. It was an owner relinquished to us. We received him and a mare at the same time.
Now, he's been here for about 4 years, and during that time he's gotten a lot of training. We just had the privilege of watching Kaya ride him all over the place. What goes into a horse's training when they're here at Safe?
We use horsemanship style of training. There's a lot of groundwork that goes into helping prepare them for riding. And once they are riding, we work on patience. For him, that's been a really important thing of learning how leadership is, both on the ground and when we're riding. He thrives from people who can help give him the support he needs to be the best citizen he can.
I love how he keeps inching up. I'm like, I'll talk to you through his head. So, Kaya, what's your favorite thing about Anderson?
My favorite thing about having Anderson here, I guess, is that he's really far along in his training, so we can do more fun next level kind of things with him, like leg yields and things like that. He's fun to have in the clinics with our trainer because we can do everything that's asked of us instead of having a grain horse like we generally have here that's not quite ready for those next level things.
And Anderson seems to have a perfect mix of characteristics here. He has some funny quirks, but then he also has the kind of personality where when you get a new horse here, he kind of shows them the ropes. Can you talk about how he takes them under his wing a little bit?
Yeah, I almost think of him as a member of the training team. When we get horses that are late cut stallions that have come in, maybe they've never had a lot of good social interactions with other horses. Once they're gelded and they can come out and meet with Anderson, be the first horse that they are turned out with. He kind of allows them to feel safe in a space where, hey, we can just be buddies. Let's go over here and look, you know, we'll just eat some grass together and not fight. And so he's submissive to a dominant horse, but yet playful and a really good buddy. He doesn't challenge other horses in ways that would be unsocially accepted. He's got very good social skills in the herd, which is part of, you know, the reason that we use him in that way. Also, if we're going out on the trails with a horse that had never gone out on the trail, real green, or maybe a little bit worried, Anderson is our go-to horse to help lead those horses around. He can help go over bridges or out into spaces that the other horse might feel nervous. I actually was riding one of our young horses and it took off, and Anderson just turned and blocked us.
Oh, that's
pretty much saved my my tail out there. And the other horse stopped and looked and then relaxed, and Andrew just stood there and said, hey, it's no big deal, we're fine. And his relaxed energy brought that horse down to being able to go around the trail no problem after.
So would you say that he's kind of a wise horse, that he can kind of like gauge situations and determine what he should do for the other horse?
Yeah, I think that as an Arabian, I mean, we already know the breed tends to be really intelligent. He's also very intuitive. He has a good sense of people. I mean, Kaya, you can speak on like how volunteers are with him. Like sometimes they'll come to us and say, I'm not sure what he thinks of me. If you have any trepidation or you're a little nervous, he's like, oh, well, I'm the boss, you know?
Yeah.
But if you walk in and you say, hey, I'm the leader, we're cool, he'll be like, oh, okay, thank you for supporting. Or the opposite, if you come in like, I'm gonna show this horse what to do and I'm gonna be, he's like, do you wanna fight? Because we could go there. So I think that he's a really good trainer for both the volunteers to learn how to interact with a horse, and also for riders to get on and feel what it takes in order to support him correctly.
Right. what has it been like for you as your relationship with him has grown over the past year?
Yeah, it's been, I mean, he's been an amazing learning opportunity for me, but when I first started working with him, he would walk away from me in the paddock, didn't really have any level of, I mean, he didn't really have any respect for me. And then as I grew in my horsemanship abilities and our relationship kind of developed, we're pretty good friends now, so we kind of figured it out.
That's awesome. So some of his favorite things to do are trail rides. He likes to be with other horses. Does he have any other favorite things to do?
We went camping a couple years ago.
Ooh.
Yeah, he went out. He loves his mares. I took one of our great alumni horses went with us, and he was just smitten with her.
Aww.
So wherever she was, he wanted to go, even including in the water where he was not sure about. But yeah, he had a lot of fun doing that. He trailers really well. This past summer, he took one of our volunteer riders to the Buck Brannaman Clinic in Ellensburg.
That's awesome.
And he took care of her as much as she was there supporting him. And every time I was on a little bit of a younger, greener horse, I was a little wild out there, and I didn't have a lot of time to like make sure he was okay. I kept looking over, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's Anderson, look at him go around. He was perfect the entire time. And that's a big, in Ellensburg, it's at the rodeo grounds, it's a huge arena. It's a little intimidated going in there. Of course, Buck Brannaman, so we're all kind of like in awe. He's an amazing trainer and teacher. And really, I mean, I have to say thank you to him for the reason that Anderson has made it is because of the horsemanship style. Because otherwise, I think he would have become a horse that people said wasn't worth it. You know, they would have turned him away. They just cut him out of give him up, give him to somebody else. He's too difficult. He's trying to bite us. He's not a good, not easy to be around. And through patience and really understanding, he's doing wonderful. And now he's a horse that I would let anybody come and try and ride. He's going to take care of people. So he's at that level, as Kaya said, he's gone a little bit farther. He's at the spot where he knows enough now that he's filling in for people who maybe don't know as much. Now that said, I'm really cautious to say he's not a beginner horse. He still is a 16-year-old late cut stallion. He was 12 as a stallion, lived his entire life king of the castle, and he needs really good leadership that's fair. And then he's a puppy. But if you don't have that confidence in yourself without being aggressive, then he just says, he's not going to work with that type of person.
He's looking for an equal partnership where you're fair with each other. Now, I'm glad that he's been doing a little bit of his lip stuff here. He is such a funny horse. He often looks like he's talking, but then what does he do before you put his bridle on?
Kaya, what does he do?
He has to yawn before you put his bridle on. So you take his halter off and you go to put his bridle on. He has to yawn at least a couple times before you put the bit in his mouth. And
then he also likes to have his gums rubbed.
He loves his upper lip gums rubbed, and he is funny. He is definitely takes a little bit warming up to new people. I think it comes from people who have come and met him, who are very healthy inside and out, and willing to go, how can I do better for the horse? How do internally I adjust as needed for this horse? Those people I just see click right with him, versus other people who haven't clicked with him, who've come to visit. Sometimes they're thinking, well, that's a bad horse, or he needs to do this for me, or it's his fault that's happening, and not really internalizing, well, how can I be different? So a really healthy individual, unfortunately, is like, and I've seen it. We know what works and doesn't work. He's been here enough times, he's met enough people, that when the right person comes, it will be very evident both for him and for us, because his ears will be happy and perked forward like they are now. And
Now, does he have any behavioral or health issues that might be making it a little bit harder for him to find an adoptive home?
Nothing for health issues. Behaviorally, like I already said about the late cut stud stuff, He is sensitive about saddling, so that's something we still work with. And so as long as the person is an adult and has horsemanship, you know, could work with putting the saddle on, he's been great. He does very well for us. He doesn't love the vet, we'll be honest. The vet and him are not the besties, so he needs some good support around the vet work. But other than that, I mean, he ties, he loads in trailers. We already said he goes on trail rides, he bathes. I don't think there's one thing I would say we can't do with him.
And what type of home would he thrive in?
I think he loves trail riding. So someone who can kind of do a nice mix of a little bit of groundwork, keeping his skills, you know, and his manners up to par, and then going out on trails. He'd love that. He does well in the arena now, though, too. I mean, he'll come out here and have great rides. Kaya's always glowing after, telling us, you know, something cool that they got to do and she worked with.
Yeah. Well, and that was neat watching you guys ride, because it looked like you were both having fun. His ears were up, his tail was up, he was all fancy, and you were having fun asking him to do maybe a little bit more than a lot of the other horses know how to do, because he's had so much training.
Yeah, he's definitely a fun horse to ride, and he likes doing the right thing. When he knows he's doing the right job, he's happy. Yeah.
He's very friendly. So if somebody sees Anderson and they think, hey, I would like a smart, wise, supportive, well-trained riding partner, how do they reach out to SAFE to initiate the adoption process?
On our website, safehorses.org, there is an application process. So you fill out application, we do a phone interview, set up a time to come and visit and ride. And then we're doing virtual site visits and reference checks. And then with Anderson especially, it would be wonderful if the person lived close enough to come and meet him a few times. We have you know, a great program here at SAFE for helping people learn about this horsemanship, and so supporting the new adopters with both, you know, they are welcome to come back and ride here with us more, or come to our clinics with our horsemanship. That would be just amazing to see somebody take what has been laid in this foundation that's worked so well and be interested in developing their own relationship with him with our support. So I do want to support him past the adoption if the adopters are interested in that. But really, he's fairly uncomplicated now. So it's a long way from the first days of riding. You know, it's like, well, let me tell you when. Sort of. He was a difficult horse, and that's why he's been here so long. He started out very difficult as a riding horse, but he also he's small and petite. So his ideal rider would also be someone who, you know, is under 5'5", 5'6", and he's only, you know, 800 pounds soaking wet probably. He's more like 6 something. So he's a small guy, 14 one hand. So.
Yeah, I also love how he keeps inching up. He just wants to be a part of everything.
They're like, keep petting me.
Well, thank you so much, Terry and Kaya and Anderson. And this has been Tracy at SaveAForgottenEquine, and I'm with the Limelight Pet Project. We shine the light on harder to adopt pets because their stories are worth telling.